This vegan cream cheese frosting is tangy, it's creamy, and it's sweet. And it pairs perfectly with my vegan carrot cake. So let's do it. As usual, if you want to follow along with the recipe, I will post the link in the description below. So I'm going to start by blending up a cashew cream with 100 grams or 3/4 of a cup of raw cashews and 3/4 of a cup of water. These measurements are for a double batch, but I will also put the single batch measurements on the screen. Make sure you've either soaked your cashews for 2 hours or boiled them for 10 minutes before you attempt to blend them. After that's nice and creamy, I will measure out half a cup of cashew cream to use in my frosting. Now, in my stand mixer, I'm adding half a cup of vegan butter along with the cashew cream that I just blended. You want to use vegan butter that's a little soft, so set it out on the counter about an hour before you start. And I'm just going to whisk this together in my stand mixer until it's creamy and smooth. You will probably need to stop to scrape down the sides with a spatula to make sure that everything's even. And you could use the paddle attachment for this part if you prefer. And it might actually be a little faster, but then you will want to switch to the whisk attachment to finish the frosting. I usually use the whisk attachment from the start because I'm lazy and it's fewer dishes to wash. Now that this is nice and creamy, I'll add 4 teaspoons of lemon juice, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 2 teaspoons of nutritional yeast, and a teaspoon of salt. And I'll start it off on low speed so that nothing splashes out and gradually increase the speed until it is nice and smooth. Finally, I'm going to add my powdered sugar, but I'm going to sift it into a bowl first to break up the clumps. I'm sifting 8 cups of powdered sugar so that it's ready, but when it's time to add it to the frosting, you might use anywhere from 6 to 8 cups depending on how stiff you want it to be. But I recommend sifting all 8 cups first so that you don't have to go back and sift more if you need it. You can always put the sifted sugar back in the container. Once that's all sifted, I will add it to my stand mixer 1 cup at a time. After I add it to the bowl, I am starting my mixer slowly again so that the powdered sugar doesn't fly out. And I will just keep adding the sugar until I get to the consistency that I want. Make sure you stop to scrape down the sides if you need to. Since I'm in Miami and it's hot here, I used all 8 cups of sugar in the frosting, which gave me a really stiff frosting that's not going to melt very easily. If you've been using your paddle attachment, make sure you switch over to the whisk attachment towards the end and turn the mixer up to a high speed to get the frosting light and fluffy. If by chance you added too much sugar and the frosting is too stiff for you, you can always add a dash of your leftover cashew cream to get it a little creamier. Just add it a little bit at a time so you don't end up with runny frosting. Alright, my frosting is finished, so now I'm going to pipe it onto some cupcakes. I am using a pastry bag with a large star tip, and I'm going to put the bag into this large mug and fold the edges over the rim. This is going to keep the bag in place so that I can add the frosting easily. And I'm using my rubber spatula to scoop the frosting into the bag, and then I'll just shake it a bit so that the frosting falls further towards the tip. And then I will use my hands to squeeze it down even further and twist the top of the bag. So I am decorating my carrot cake cupcakes. That recipe will be in the next video, so make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that. I am not a fancy cupcake decorator by any means. I am just using a really basic technique where I start at the edge of the cupcake, circle around the outside, and then spiral inward until I get to the center. With the star pattern, it's going to look twisty without you having to twist the bag at all. I know the first time I tried to pipe icing, I thought I had to twist the bag to get it to look like that, and actually it looks really weird if you try to do that, so don't do that. If you're going to frost your cupcakes with a thick layer of frosting like this, I suggest making 2 batches of the frosting like I did. But if you're happy with a thinner layer, 1 batch should be enough for 20 to 24 cupcakes. If you're not sure, make 2 batches, and if you make too much, you can always freeze the frosting for a while until you make your next batch of cupcakes. Well, we have come to the end of another video, but my carrot cake cupcake video should be out before Easter. So thanks for watching, and I will see you very soon.